one of my favorite things to say, I want you to say favorite, here's not the best word to use, but one of the things I often say when I reply to people's videos who do like meta videos, like Meta Mike, shout out to Meta Mike. I say this a lot in his video, on his comment section. One thing it's all about like, you know, car ratings, the meta, and one thing I always say is that the meta is a fabrication. The meta that exists when it comes to price range and card you know, ratings is all fabricated. EA literally makes the initial like groundwork for how much something is when it comes with value, and then the community kind of just like upholds it with popularity in leagues. So one example I want to give you is Golovin and Alvarez. If you look at these two cards, which you're going to put them up on Footbin, Golovin looks like he's a way better card than Alvarez, but you won't hear people say that you should use Golovin over Alvarez. They both played primarily, you know, the same position, just on the opposite side. He plays on the left, Alvarez plays on the right, but they both play, you know, center forward. You look at Alvarez, it's the same thing. You know, he plays on the right, Golovin plays on the left. So you can use them both. I'm not saying you can't, but you know, their play styles aren't all that different from each other. They both got first touch. Golovin has technical plus, which I love that. But when it comes to comparing their value, Golovin is 47,000 when it comes to his value, and Alvarez is, as was SBC, we can put through an EVA as well, is 405,000. So you look at those numbers and you're like, okay, how does Alvarez have such a high value to him while being 2 tiers lower? You need to play 1 less position than him, and statistically he has less pace, you know, equal shooting, less dribbling, less passing, less defense, and you know, 3 more physical. So on the face value, Golovin looks like a way better card than Alvarez. Even when it comes to the in-game stats, Golovin has 11 more, you know, total stats than Alvarez, and when it comes to total in-game stats, he has, you know, pretty much 25 more in-game stats than Alvarez. So what about, you know, their skill moves? You know, Golovin's 4-star 4-star, Alvarez 4-star 5-star. How big of a deal is that? Does that dictate, you know, the price range that they have? Again, the meta, and especially when it comes to pricing, is fabricated. Golovin doesn't have a lot of links. You know, he's Russian. There's not a lot of top tier Russian players you can link to in this game. He's also played for Monaco. There's not a lot of high tier Monaco players in the game, so you have a hard time linking him. Whereas Alvarez links with Argentina, one of the biggest leagues, one of the biggest countries in the game. You know, he can link to Messi. You know, so he links to those players. Plays the Premier League, one of the biggest leagues in the game, so he can link with Odegaard. He can link with everyone from the Premier League. He plays for Manchester City, that allows him to link with one of the biggest teams in the sport, including the women's leagues. He can link with City players. So the links factor into that meta because it makes this, you want to have people on your team who's easier to link with. Now, I'd argue that it's way easier nowadays to get your links done than ever before, so links shouldn't factor into value, because you can link Golovin in your team because there's players in the game who are you know, pluses. So just having one more person of a team or a league will put them into you know, a 3. I have gameplay on my stream where I use Golovin and he's on full chem. Especially when it comes to, you can use managers to also factor into links and icons to factor into links. So linking is not hard right now. So I don't think it's fair to say that links should be the valued indicator. Now, am I saying that you should be using Golovin? No, but I do think you should look past, because again, when it comes to like the pricing for top cards, people view anything less than 70,000 as fodder cards. There's a lot of cards that are considered fodder that are actually really good and in a lot of ways better than the higher value cards. Again, outside of, you know, their skill moves, there's not a single statistic, unless you want to, you know, consider, you know, their physical, where Alvarez is a better card than Golovin. Even when it comes to their total stats, Golovin wins. When it comes to their total in-game stats, Golovin wins. And again, I'm not trying to say, just these two are just examples. So how should you figure out who is and who isn't good for your team? By actually using them. When you see cards like Golovin or Minamino or Ben Yahya, or you see someone like Pedro Concalves, I'm sorry to pronounce his last name wrong. When you see these cards that don't jump off your screen because they're not meta, use them first. Figure out, because you might find out that these cards are actually really good. You know, so like going, you know, back here, if you've never used Szoboszlai, you might not know if this is a really good card or not. You know, you would have to play to find out. You wouldn't know if Zelim is really good or not unless you see a video someone telling you that she's really good. Same thing comes with Jonathan Ta. Same thing comes with Chirik. There's a lot of cards in this game, like Halton, who gets ignored because, you know, they're not meta or they're not spoken of. You know, Halton, she has a lot of downvotes on Footbin, and I said this on Meta Mike's video that I think the reason why her SBC has been downvoted so much has nothing to do with her. It has a lot to do with expectations. There's a lot of rumors and leaks saying that Thiago Silva is going to be getting a end of era card very soon, and the very next day this card came out. So people were like, oh, that's not Thiago Silva. So they downvoted her card, even though you look at her card. This is a crazy good card. She has every single defensive playstyle in the game, including intercept as a playstyle plus, and she has aerial playstyle plus to help her out when it comes to, you know, getting in kind of crosses or defending against crosses, or, you know, offensively for you on crosses. And, you know, when you have someone like her who has aerial, that also compensates for, you know, what she misses in height, because she's not tall. She's 5'9". So you have these players who don't get used and get missed out on, and you hear people in a Twitch chat, oh, that person sucks. They never used that person. They didn't do the SBC for her character. They just say because, you know, they look at the 91 and go, okay, that's not better than a 94. You know, they look at the 90, they look at a 91 for Haji and go, oh, Haji's mid. He's a 91. He doesn't have a third play style. Haji's very good. You know, anyone who's ever used Haji will tell you that. Same thing when it comes to Ozarzu. Some things comes to Bergkamp and Marquez and Minamino and Fowler. You know, there's always someone who can tell you these cards are good, and the best way to find out who is good and who isn't is to actually use them. When I tell people that I kind of feel like, you know, Jonathan Ta isn't him, I actually do like Ta, but, you know, there's times where his AI kind of, you know, reverts to being a gold common card over a TOTS card, and that's not all the time, but it's sometimes. There's people like, oh, you know, that's a skill issue. It's not a skill issue. You can talk about its AI. The AI has nothing to do with my skill. Like, it's just AI. You know, people ask, oh, who should I use, this person or that person? Use them yourself. Don't ask content creators who you should use. Use them yourself. If you already have those characters made, those cards made, and they're already in your line, they're already in your team, use them. You know, go play 3 games of rivals or qualifiers or champions with Hemp to see if you like her, and then put someone else in at that spot. Let's say Rofo can play left wing, to find out if you prefer her or Rofo. Does Hemp replace Rofo as my left winger? Play 3 games with Hemp, play 3 games with Rofo, and see how you feel. Use the cards. Content creators are just making content. A lot of content creators, said in the video before, a lot of people who do meta tier videos don't play all those cards. They don't know in-game experience with those cards. They just look at the face value, and they just go, all right, well, this card I think is good. This card I don't think is good. There's very few content creators who's using every single card in a game, making a video about it, and showing you the actual gameplay. There's some out there who do things like, you know, Rumorex, Morrissey, Boba. You know, there's people out there who play a lot of gameplay to show you the characters, and they're making the characters themselves or buying the characters themselves, not playing other people's accounts. Play the game yourself to find out, you know, if these, especially if you packed them. If you packed them, there's nothing for you to lose. Just go play the game. If you're curious about buying someone, then the question could be asked. But nothing else is better than actual experience. I'll tell you now, I think Golovin is better than Alvarez. I kind of like chuckle and laugh when someone calls him fodder, but doesn't call Alvarez fodder. I put Alvarez through the Evo, so he's actually one level higher than he would have been if you didn't do the Evo. So if you didn't do the Evo, an even bigger, you know, difference in the cards. Also, just versatility. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting Alvarez as a CM. I feel like with looking at his stat line, I can put him as CMB fine, because, you know, he has the better passing, he has better defending, and it says he can play cam. So it's like he can fit in that spot. But again, the links is what people freaking like. Links in name is what people freaking like, you know, hinge on. He's Russian. His name is Golovin. He plays for Monaco and League On. In other words, he's not Prim. He's not Bundesliga. He's not La Liga. You know, so he has less value to people. So in my opinion, if you're trying to figure out a way to improve your team, we're gonna end the video on that. Trying to figure out how to improve your team, how to make your team better. Don't ignore these kind of cards. Try them out. They might actually be the cards that answer what you're looking for. I'm not saying you have to run dual freaking, you know, ladies who are undersized at your center backs. I do it because it works. You know, they're very good players and it works. It might not for you because your play style might be different than mine. You might play a play style where you want some meat right here. You know? And again, I have Ty on my bench. I use Ty in this lineup too. I use Ty as a partner for Leia and Alexandre. I sometimes use Ty with Alvarez, and I'll have Zalim and Alvarez Marquez a spot. You know, you have to figure out plug and play your own players around for what works for you. That could be the answer to why you're losing games. Is you have a lineup that you built based off what other people are telling you, but not what you know. You know, plug and play your players around, see where they get their kindlings at, and try them out in the game and see how that works out for you. With all that said, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Be a boy, and Gamer Archer. I'll see you when I see you out of here. Deuces.